Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is Jeremy with the Notebook Nerd, and this week we're going to be talking about a pretty popular notebook. This is the medium size, or sometimes called the standard size, Moleskine notebook. This one is in navy blue and it is lined. This brand has been around for a while. I want to say they had a resurgence back in the mid 90s. Early 2000s. They have kind of a legacy that is mostly marketing, but they are a very popular notebook, and for years they were kind of the gold standard with notebooks of this size. And then eventually they ran into a lot of paper inconsistencies, which we will talk about. This one, as you can see, I threw some stickers on. That's just, me. I love the stickers. I usually prefer hardcover. This one, has the ribbon. It has the elastic band. I just have some pages marked, and I'll take all the Post-its off afterwards, just to, for fun. I used this originally as a bullet journal, and eventually it just kind of became just a regular old journal. I'd used it for a lot of things. I had some goals and intentions, and I was trying to keep track of some, funny or interesting stuff the kids say. I would put other stickers in there. I try to have little weekly layouts. Try to have fun with it, going sideways and this and that. This particular one is made in Vietnam. And the ones coming out of, this was Valentine's Day, that was fun. The Moleskines that are coming out of Vietnam and I believe Germany in the last few months are actually fountain pen friendly. I'm not sure exactly what kind of paper it is, but the paper is fountain pen friendly. It was kind of a surprise to me. I think other people had kind of figured it out on their own. I've got about 100 pages into this one. I had all kinds of, ink tests and all fountain pens, and there was no a little bit of ghosting, but not really any bleed through, except for, a couple of real wet pens. I have a Chinese fountain pen called the Jinhao Gulor, and that one is almost like a Sharpie, puts out so much ink, and it shows through, but it didn't bleed through. So I know that, over the years, Moleskine has gotten a lot of, deserved criticism for their paper inconsistencies. But, recently, they have been putting out some better quality. Now, I haven't yet seen the pocket size with the better paper. So far, I've only seen I think this is called B6. Moleskine will call it their medium size. I have also one of their larger, which I believe is A4 size notebooks, and that one still has the older paper. But this one, it takes fountain pens, pencils, pens. It was a nice surprise. I do, again, I've mentioned that I bounce around a lot in notebooks. This one eventually became just a regular journal instead of a bullet journal. It's difficult for me to kind of have one notebook for everything. Occasionally I'll try to do it again sometimes, just for fun, to change things up. But this has long been my favorite, one of my favorite notebook sizes. I think, Moleskine was one of the ones that made this size popular. But I want to say it's called B6, but I could be mistaken. But this is probably my favorite format of a non-pocket size notebook. I like the hardcover with Moleskine. I've never had an issue with their covers. They're always pretty durable. I like that, they're thinner than some. This one, just like all the Moleskine, have, the pocket in the back, which usually I'll keep, stickers and ephemera and stuff in there. I like to, I'm a big sticker guy. I go through a lot of stickers. yeah, this is probably my favorite notebook format of a non-pocket size. They're just, you know, the A5 is nice, but it's just a little bit wider, and sometimes this is just easy to carry. It's big enough where it's not difficult to write in. You know, if you just have it, you know, in your hand, you know, the hard cover makes for, you know, a good surface to write on. And yeah, this has been, you know, a long favorite of mine. I've been a Moleskine fanboy even back when they had crappy paper. You know, I've been through, I don't even know how many of these notebooks between the pocket size and this size. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. Let me know if you want me to cover anything else, and we will see you next week.